beggars can't be choosers, Daryl.
I have seen evidence to disagree with that statement numerous times in my lifetime.
Well, I think it's a saying to get people to stop, asking for so much when.
Yeah, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Oh!
That would just be crazy.
That would be just crazy because I've had my cake and I've ate it too. Like it's just not right.
Excuse me, sir. I'd like a piece of cake, but I swear I won't eat it.
I'm not gonna eat it, but you're gonna give it to me, but I'm not gonna eat it. And I'm just letting you know that if you give it to me, I am gonna eat it.
As long as you're not gonna eat it, I'll give you some.
Makes no sense. English language is funny.
It's not funny if you're trying to learn it.
No, we're just turn on a dime. He's gonna turn on a dime. Like what? How does he get on the dime? It's so small.
It's a tight turn though. I mean, it makes sense if you can pull it off.
Sure.
Speaking about turning on a dime, we've got a stat show for you, TK.
Whoa! I'm excited.
How is that for a segue? Does that work?
It's a good one. I think there's lots going on. I mean, we're going to be a little short stats show today, and I think that I'm excited for it.
Are we on a time crunch?
Not a time crunch, but I want to save a lot of the good stuff for Sunday.
Absolutely.
Because there's lots to talk about as usual.
Nobody listens to this segment anyway, so what's the difference?
Stat show numbers are pretty low, so yeah, maybe we should just not really get into it too much. Too heavy. Keep it light.
Keep it light. Well, I mean, listen, I looked at the stats and maybe I'm missing something.
Mm.
Or maybe I'm seeing something that other people aren't seeing. Did you take a look at that spreadsheet that I sent you, sir?
Absolutely. Very thorough. Very thorough.
And did it speak to you? Did it tell you any stories?
It does tell me a story, but there is a...
Well, let's get to it after. Let's get to that story after. Let's talk about what you want to talk about because this is your segment. This is your show.
So the stats show needs to start off like this, and I never seem to really understand that because I'm a little bit distracted sometimes when I talk. So I think the most important thing about a stat show is that we actually give the stats. Would you agree?
You want to eat that cake, don't you?
I think we should give the stats. If we do a stat show, we should give a stats. So, here we are. All right, here we are. The November 2020 Toronto Regional Real Estate Board Market Watch. So, here we go. Here we go. Sales up 24.3%.
You're too close. Too close to your mic. Too close.
Last 2019 in November. So that's a pretty significant jump, 24%. We have seen larger jumps over the post-pandemic sales months, but still that's a significant amount more sales. It's about 1,700 sales more than back in November 2019. Let's go into the next part, average price, what everyone wants to know about. 13.3% higher. That is an average price across all segments of the market, across the entire Toronto Real Estate Board. But still, the average price of a home has gone up well over $110,000, up 13.3%. That includes condos. We are now at $955,000. Now, if you just look at the detached average price alone, we're at 1.202 million. So 1,202,000. Pretty significant if you own a detached price. A big one that we have to look at is active listings, because this is where we start to look at where the market's going. So right now we have 13,798 active listings, which is up 15% compared to last year. Now it's definitely turned. So last year, November 2019, there would have been a lot of freehold listings and not so many condo listings. And now it's the opposite. The bulk of the active listings are in the condo sector, and the freehold active listings are actually very low, which freehold active listings currently are 6,112. So you can see out of the 13,000 active listings, only 6,112 are actually in the freehold segment. Now, that being said,
So, but hold on a sec. Let me just pause you there for a sec, because
sure.
what I see here when I look at these numbers, I see obviously a lot of new listings, but it seems that like sales are almost keeping up. Like the increase in sales is almost keeping up with the new listings, which is good, right?
But active listings, right, is important because those are the total amount of listings. So when we look at months of inventory, we look at how many listings are there total, because it's not just going to be about what new listings will come up. We'll assume that there'll be the same amount of new listings and sales going into the next month, which never actually happens. But how many of those listings are actually currently for sale, and at the pace of sales that we've had over the last month, how long would it take us in order to sell the remaining listings? And I do have a chart for this. Thank you very much, Richard, from my real estate team.
Thanks, Richard.
So, thanks, Richard. So, months of inventory in the Toronto region, in the detached segments, we have 1.5 months of inventory. In the condo apartment segment, we have 3.65 months of inventory, which is not that bad.
That's not
Months of
bad.
inventory, when we start getting up into like 4 or 5 months of inventory, it is atrocious. And what's actually happened is we've actually seen active condo listings go down. So I put that in my monthly report. I didn't write it down, so I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think it was roughly 15%. So there's 15% less active listings in the condo segment at the end of November compared to October. So there's actually, let's get into that quickly. People are taking their condos off the market and saying, okay, I'm not going to be able to get my price. I might as well just cancel the listing and rent it out, or not move, or make a decision next year. And that's happened a lot
Yes.
more in November.
I
Okay.
see that in the numbers.
Okay, good. Now, detached months of inventory. This is where it gets really scary. Peel, less than a month's inventory, 0.87.
Who the hell wants to move to Peel right now? I don't care if it's a house instead of an apartment.
Halton region, 1.09 months of inventory. York region, 1.72 months of inventory. And drum roll, Daryl, drum roll, please. Detached houses in the Durham region has 0.56 months of inventory.
Whoa!
Wow.
Where's that? I was too busy drumming to hear you.
Durham region.
Wow! If you want to live in Durham, good luck.
Look, if you got a house to sell in Durham, now is the time to get that sucker on the market.
Yes,
Wow.
and list it for way more than the last guy that sold for.
You're going to get 20 offers, so you might as well. I was in 24 offers this week in Durham, or maybe last week, or within the last 5 days.
Wow.
25 offers. Yeah, this week. It was on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean everything
Amazing,
seems
eh?
to be rolling along. Like
Yeah, I did not win that multiple offer scenario. at about 6 offers, I was like, okay, it's probably going to go 10 to 15 offers, so we based our decision off that. Once it got to 21, 22, 23, 24, I basically packed it in. I said, okay, guys, this price is going to go a little bit beyond our budget. What the guys were willing to pay.
yeah, that's how it works
We moved
sometimes.
on.
Too
That's it.
bad. Too bad.
That's all you can do.
It's tough. Listen, I mean, the numbers paint a picture that low rise is going kaboom, right? And
Yep.
the media, the articles paint a picture that condos are going in the crapper, but unless I'm missing something, I mean, I sent you my little analysis chart today, but it certainly
Yeah.
doesn't tell me that. It tells me what you just said, basically, that people are like, I'm not getting my price, so I don't care. I'm not selling.
Yeah, your chart though is not specific to certain areas, and that's the big thing. Is certain buildings are doing better than others, and there's definitely some areas of Toronto where the condo buildings are doing well, and you are just looking at the average throughout the entire real estate board.
Sure, and listen, I mean,
Yeah.
I look at these numbers and I think to myself, why do I care about the increase in average price versus the same period next year? I mean, what does that tell me? All that tells me, I mean, I get that it's important, but all it tells me is that, okay, so if I bought a house last November, right now, if I bought a condo in 416 last November, now I would have lost 3% since last November. That's all that these numbers are telling me, is how I did in relation to how I bought it if I bought it a year ago, right?
Yes.
So I mean, what's more important and telling, I think, for me in these numbers is where we are versus average price last month. And we must have talked about this before, because
100%.
yeah, like I'm sitting here going, what do I care what it was a year ago? I mean, it's important if I'm trying to gauge, how the last year went, because last year was crazy, right? But for example, if I bought a condo in February in 416, I paid on average 722,675. And if I bought one last month, I paid an average of 640. So like, I didn't do so well if I bought something in February on average throughout the whole city.
Yes.
I get it. But what's
Yeah.
way more important to me is that the average price in February was 722 and now it's 640. Right? And even last month was 668. Like, we are dropping, the last couple of months.
But I got something else just important to tell you. Condo prices are dropping in the core of Toronto, no doubt about it. But the price differential gets amplified actually the opposite way that we were discussing before. So when detached house prices started to go up so much, it was because the larger homes were getting sold. So we had this huge influx of these large houses, millions of dollars, that was boosting up the average price. That's leveled off now. We're starting to see consistent numbers since June of being anywhere close to 400 sales of 2 million plus properties. Okay, that's been pretty steady. That's why I'm not really too focused on that number anymore. Last year it was closer to 200, but now it just seems like more of those larger homes are being sold. In the condo sector, a lot of the larger units are very much in demand, and there's really not as much of them available. So I find that there's still competition. There's still people who want to get those larger units, so that therefore they're selling. So it's maybe it's a little bit easier to sell, which could lead to higher prices. But the lower, smaller, cheaper units, nobody wants them.
No, not
And
right
that's why
now. They
those
don't.
are-
Except for
those
the
are all being-
wolves. Except for the wolves that are waiting for just the right time
The
to
wolves don't
snatch
even
up a
want
bunch.
'em. There's assignment deals left, right, and center on
I know, but they're
studio
for
and one bedrooms. No one wants them.
no. Everybody's just trying to screw each other. Like, the
So
buyers want
everybody,
a great deal and the sellers want
Yeah.
to fuck you. So it's like, it's not going to happen. But that's what I'm seeing in these numbers. So all I'm seeing is that people didn't get hurt this year. Obviously, some people did, but overall, if you didn't have to sell your condo, you didn't have to get hurt this year. And if you did, the damage was very minimal. So if you had to buy it in the middle of like the peak, and you decided, oh my God, I can't do this. I got to get out of this
January.
thing. You lost $100,000 and you lick your wounds and you go try it again with different investors or something, or maybe you go get a job or whatever the hell. But nobody, look,
Say that investors go get a job.
Go get a job for a month. Go drive an Uber or something.
100
No,
grand for a month. There you go.
listen, you don't. So, but the point is
I hear
that
you.
people didn't have to sell. That's why the numbers went down so drastically, because they didn't have to. They were on the market. They didn't get their numbers because the prices didn't tank, right? With such a all of a sudden huge supply of inventory, you'd think that the prices would just tank. And what happened is the most of the sellers dug their heels in and said, like, no, it's not happening.
100%. Yep. If you did not buy already, then chances are you didn't accept the prices that you were willing to, or that the buyers were willing to pay you. And unless you had, like, there's some great units, there's some great buildings, there's some great floor plans and views, those seem to be still selling. Like, all the good stuff really has been moving still. There doesn't seem to be a huge drastic decrease in actual sales in the condo market. It's just because of the oversupply, we just felt like, no one was going to buy those units in, I don't know, the waterfront areas where 60% of the building is full of tenants, right? So no one wants to end up going into one of those type of buildings, right, where there's going to be Airbnb parties at your place every single weekend, right? So those people avoided those places. But really nice, like boutique buildings or anything that's got anything that's been built in the last few years that still has a lot of appeal to it, those buildings seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, and I think like every other trend, like the pandemic just sped up this Airbnb nonsense. Like it was gonna get to this point eventually where people were fed up with all this crazy shit happening
Get
in
rid
the
of
buildings.
Airbnb.
Well, but even Airbnb must have saw the writing on the wall at some point. They
Yeah.
started building their own rental buildings and putting it on the service. Like they must
Okay.
know, and they,
Airbnb buildings. There you go. Solution. Problem solved.
or full floors on a property. You know, like with their
Not
own.
even. You can't even share the elevators with the Airbnbs. You got to just put them all in one spot and say no Airbnbs in condos that there's residents living in. It's just not. It's not good.
It's not ideal.
Depreciates the value.
So
Yeah.
like every other trend, we're just seeing this pandemic speed that thing up too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's necessary. I mean, who the hell
And the
wants to
hotels are
live?
nice, man. Hotels. We need to support the hotel business and get people who are coming and visiting Toronto, not just like, hey, I'm an Airbnb customer. Okay, so but every time I stay in one, I'm usually a little bit disappointed. You know, like I'm usually kind of just like, I probably should have just stayed in a hotel.
I never tried it because we always want to, not have to clean up and cook our own shit when we're paying to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
But we go away for like tournaments and stuff like that, and we want to just get a place for a group of people, and we're looking to keep costs down and all that kind of stuff too. And a hotel means each person has their own room, and then if we go down with like 6, 7 people, it's like we can get a townhouse, or we've had all sorts of interesting apartments throughout the states when we travel together.
well, Airbnb is going to be a fuck up before it's a big thing again, I think, everywhere. I
Yeah.
can't imagine. But I think realistically, people are definitely coming back to downtown into these tiny units, and people will get a bunch of good deals, and then we'll reorganize. And well, now is getting close to the time. If it's not the time, I mean, all of the.
No, it's been the time.
I think it's been the time.
The time is going away.
I don't know if it's
Dale,
going
you
away, but we're starting to ride a wave up again, I think.
It's right. I'm telling you, what I'm seeing right now with the assignment market and all the people, there's a ton of people. We're sitting on $90 billion worth of savings. We've got so many. Sunday, sorry. We have so many people.
No, that's a big number.
Who are looking to buy condos. I have a lineup of buyers right now who are all like, yeah, you can get me a good deal on a condo cash. I'll get 2 of them.
Sure.
Like there's so many people who are just keen on getting into the condo market, and everyone's saying, oh, we're going to wait for the bottom. We're going to wait for the bottom. You know what the signs
bottom's
are
here.
when we hit the bottom?
The vaccine is coming. Everything is going to be okay. Full steam ahead. Let's go.
Sold signs. And when you start seeing those sold signs, it's too late.
When you start seeing the sold signs on the condos downtown, it is too late.
It's too late. Yes. Hypothetical.
Where do you see those?
Sold signs.
They should put sold signs on buildings.
On the balcony, banners. The agent's face on it with a cell phone in his hand.
What about a hologram coming off the top of the building?
Spotlights, right?
Boom. TK.
LED lighting.
That would be great. Trump would have that on all of his buildings.
That would be tacky.
Hey, do you know who the new president of the United States is going to be?
President-elect? No, I haven't heard about him. Tell me.
No, I don't know. I'm waiting for the results. I hear they still haven't figured it out.
I think they figured it out.
Who? Who is it? We're listening to different news. We're listening to different news.
I was here. I heard it was this Biden guy.
Yeah, I hear that is not in fact true.
I think he's just biding his time.
Biden. Boom.
Anyways, Darryl, stat show.
We're done.
I don't really have any more stats to give.
Yeah, the stats are boring.
I think the stats are pretty self-explanatory when you look at them. This month, usually there's a little bit more to read into it, but right now it's just about understanding the freehold market. And I don't think that the freehold market is going to continue on this path. It has. Hold on, Darryl. In the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board, anytime months of inventory have gone down to 1 month or even less than 1 month of inventory, it has never stayed there for very long.
What happens?
Ever.
What happens?
Something.
What?
Government intervention, economic instability.
1 month.
It never lasts that long.
What are we gonna? What happens? Like we're gonna have a new tax?
Well, we're going to talk about that on Sunday. There may or may not be taxes that are coming in, right?
Ooh.
So there's always change that comes. The government never allows the housing market to stay like this. The people never allow the housing market to stay like this.
But we need
The
it like this
universe
for a while. Like
never
we can't take another
allows
we
the
can't
housing market to stay like this.
take another lump right now.
$90 billion in savings, Daryl.
What does that mean?
It means that some people are able to weather the storm.
But we're seeing that. That's why you have 24 offers on a house, because all the people that can buy even more now, and they have savings and low interest rates and promises of lots of new money coming into the system. But we will
So
end
you know what?
there. What a great tease for Sunday's.
You know what we're missing in all this? The robots. They would be able to solve these problems. We would be building houses every 3 days. Are they listening? What's going on? What was that?
The robots are here. They
But it's true.
They decide when people watch our video.
If we were just able to build a huge amount of houses, or maybe if the condo market was oversupplied and people's attitude changed.
But the condo market is oversupplied.
Oh wow, what a coincidence. Look at that.
Are people's attitudes changing?
Not yet. Dun dun dun. Problem solved.
Well,
You heard it here first.
Yes, and for a change, I am no less confused when we ended than when we started, and I don't know if that has anything to do with this show.
Good. Well, let's carry on, and I will gather my information for Sunday, and you gather your information for Sunday.
Carry on.
Meet here on the same channel.
Carry on.
Okay.
Carry
Good.
on. Make sure you don't eat your bread. You can only look at it.
First of all, you need to subscribe, because Sunday's episode could be released and it may only be on YouTube for a short period of time. We may post it and then we may take it off. That may happen, but if you subscribe, you'll know that it came out, and then you'll get first opportunity to watch it just in case it actually does come off. So I think that subscribing now would, solve that problem.
It would certainly solve a lot of problems.
Yes.
Now, we seem to do this at the exact wrong time every single time. So let's see if it worked.
Sunday, we're going to start with it.
We do seem to gain subs regardless of when we say it.
Hey, one at a time. But Sunday, we're going to start with the sub thing.
Sunday it is, sir.
Sunday. A lot of things are happening on Sunday.
Sunday it is.
Okay. I'll see you then.
Bye.